Hi everyone, this slideshow is going to be focusing on the observation approaches that you will use when acting as a narrative journalist. So what is observation in consideration of narrative journalism? Now, narrative journalists are drawing only upon factual evidence which is provided from their observations, and although we're creating stories, these stories, again, they are all derived from real events. We're trying to depict people as real as they are, trying to depict the scenes and experiences as real as they are. When conducting observations, narrative journalists are looking at both the small and big details. They're looking at what a person looks like, yes, but we're also trying to look at how they're feeling about topics. We're looking at how they act, mannerisms, and we'll go into more of this later. Narrative journalists do spend a longer time with their subjects to get to know them so that they can accurately depict them. And they don't only just observe the people, they observe their words and environments. It's important to note that journalists are all different, we are all different, and we will interpret situations differently. So we have to take that into considerations in regard to ethics. How observation is used in narrative journalism? Well, we're trying to accurately depict people. We want the character that is on paper to match the person that is in real life. We are giving these people stories for their experiences, and they need to be accurate alongside the characters that we are interviewing, the subjects who we are interviewing and observing. So as such, the character should match your subject's thoughts, actions, appearances. All of these should be conducive to the actual individual. So a benefit as to why we spend so much time observing our subjects and interviewing our subjects, but specifically observing, we get to know the subjects then so that we can accurately depict the characters in our stories. We are trying to show these characters as real people so that the audiences can connect to them better, and trying to add more to that element of realism throughout your story. Narrative journalists look at a variety of things when observing their subjects. They're looking at physical appearances, they're looking at their demographic information, clothing attire, and how all of that can potentially impact the overall theme or message of your story. They're also looking at behaviors and mannerisms, specifically repetitive actions that subjects tend to do a lot. And then we're also examining how subjects interact with others. That could be how they talk, that could be just who they are as a person. And then with how they talk, that is slang, accents, speech patterns, stuttering, pauses, the use of ums and uhs. Now, when answering those questions in an interview, that is going to be a little bit different. However, in terms of observation, you would want to act as a fly on the wall. You don't want to interfere with the situation that you're observing, because that could affect the overall outcome and your overall field notes. So since we're examining subjects' behaviors, we also need to be able to write those behaviors into our stories. Punctuation can often be used to supplement these common things like speech patterns, pauses, stuttering. Narrative journalists may use dashes or ellipses to signal a change to the audience. It can even be if a character was interrupted. You can really take your own creative ability into this, and also see what other narrative journalists have used to show a person's behaviors. And then, yeah, another example is they can incorporate dashes in between for pauses. Through their in-depth observational research, narrative journalists are creating more trusting relationships with their subjects. And what that means is that they're getting more information. They're getting deeper information with the questions that they're asking, but also their subject is acting more comfortable around them because they've spent lots of time with them, so they'll act more like themselves. By creating these highly detailed journalism stories, the trust with audiences also grows because you're using the truth. You're not creating fake news or manipulating experiences and people. So the audience then can feel more connected to the material because they now have a deeper understanding of the events that occurred to these subjects or to these characters. The use of details found by observing does build that realism in the story, again, so the audience connects to it, but also so that the individuals that you're writing about, the subjects, characters, they also then have their voice, their story being told in a much deeper way than that may not would have happened. Because narrative journalists use rhetorical devices in their writing and they're basing it off of their own observations, it's important to know that every process during the writing and researching time is important. And that includes the process of selection and compression. And that's just saying what information is included, what information is not included. So why are you including that information? Why are you not including that information? Are you trying to create a specific message, or are you trying to manipulate a situation to where it is unethical, it is untruthful? As such, journalists in general do have a duty to report the truth, no matter their predispositions, and that's their bias that they bring in prior to their researching, prior to their observations. And to achieve that ethical work, they need to maintain an ethical purpose. So when you're going into your observations, you'll have maybe some questions that you know you want to answer. You'll know what you want to look for, but you also need to realize why you're looking for it. What narrative are you trying to write? What message are you trying to send to the audiences? How are you trying to showcase the experiences and the characters in your story? Here is my reference slide for this slideshow. I will see you in the next module. Make sure to reach out if you have any questions on any assignments or on any of the content in the slideshows as well. Thank you for watching.